The future holds much more of this. I never met Meher Baba and can only tell stories that I myself have heard and which many of you too may have heard. So please forgive me for this, but it doesn't, the avatar, the God-man is with us forever and will fill the hearts and cups of humanity down the generations, including those of us who have never met him. I wanted to start with a story that may be familiar to many of you. I myself heard it from Erich. If you know this story, maybe you can live the remembrance of this story along at the same time. Can you understand my American English? I hope so. Okay, I'll try to speak clearly and distinctly. This story begins in Madras, which is why it came to my mind. During the New Life, one of the phases of Avatar Meher Baba was he was seeking out people who formerly had been rich and who had fallen into great poverty. At one occasion, Baba was in Madras. That is what it was called in those days, of course. Baba was in Madras with Erich and the Mandali, and Erich was buying coconut water for Baba to drink. They were very thirsty. Happened to overhear the shop owner talking about a man, some man in his family who had been wealthy and became destitute. And Baba overheard this and said to Erich, find out more about this. Find out who this man is. Find out where he lives. So Erich went and inquired, and the shop owner, at first the shop owner said, who are you? What business is this of yours? But finally he told Erich, the man's name was Subramanian, who lived in the city of Gudur. Do you know where Gudur? It's in Andhra. Gudur? Huh? Manchimada? Is that the name of the city? Okay, I've been corrected. The city is Manchimada. Okay, in Andhra? Okay, in Andhra Pradesh. So immediately they got on a train and traveled 8 kilometers, whatever it was, to the city. And Erich went alone to the house where this man was supposed to live. And it was a wealthy mansion, a wealthy palace. And Erich knocked on the door, and some wealthy man came to the door. And Erich said, I'm looking for a poor man named Subramanian. And the man said, my name is Subramanian, but I'm not poor. Anyway, there was a boy there in the house who said, oh, I know who he means. I'll take you there. Erich concluded later that this was a contractor who had cheated this man, Subramanian, out of all his money in the course of building this house. Well, Erich was taken by this boy down to a very poor district. You know, part of the beauty of this story is that it occurred on the night of Diwali, you know, Diwali night, and all lights were everywhere. Everyone was burning a candle in commemoration of Ram and the whole Diwali thing. Deepawali. Okay. So they came to a house. There were no lights at all, just one single candle. And inside, Erich saw a woman before a statue of Krishna. The family was so poor that there was nothing in the house except one statue of Krishna. They had sold everything they had, and they had only that much left. And Erich, she was praying to Krishna, you know, from the depths of her heart. He could see this. Do you understand me? Am I speaking too quickly? Okay. So finally, Baba was waiting at the train station, so Erich knocked on the door. And she said, "Who is it?" And Erich persuaded her to let him in, and found that she was living with her aged parents who were in the house. They were so poor and so weak that they couldn't even get out of their beds. They had been very rich previously, and they had lost everything. So Erich said, my older brother, he would not identify who Meher Baba was. My older brother knows your people. He wants to give them help. Will you wait here? Will you be ready? And he persuaded this woman to trust him, finally. She said, "Yes, I'll wait." Erich went back to the train station and brought Baba. So Baba came with Pendu, and they came into the house, and Baba would not say who he was, would not identify himself, would say nothing about himself. But this old man and this old woman, he bathed their feet, and he took some money and put it on the old man's chest. These were people who had nothing, absolutely nothing. And then Baba left. And I remember, maybe some of you like me heard Erich tell this story. It really is a heartbreaking story. Erich said when he left, he could hear this woman. She, fell at the feet of Krishna in the statue, and she said, "Oh Krishna, how merciful you are. I had not even time to finish my prayer to you before you sent help. The words still coming out of my mouth before you sent help." Now, isn't that the beauty of the true avatar, of our true beloved, who comes in the depths of night? This woman her father, her mother, they never knew who Baba was. They never knew anything about him. Baba never asked for recognition. He never sought acclaim. But he gave to them the help their desperation was calling out for. Now, this story came to mind because of its connection with this city, Madras. But it occurs to me that in a way, this story represents in my mind what religion is at its best, you might say. This woman, what did she know about God? She knew what her tradition had taught her. She had a statue of Krishna and was praying to God according to the understanding that her religion had given to her of who God was and how you pray to him. But because the cry came from the depths of the heart, God himself heard it, and God himself came and gave them help at the nick of time. What was she praying for? She wasn't a great saint, and her father and mother, they weren't great saints begging, "Oh God, show me the sight of your face," or, "Oh God, give me your pure divine love." No, they were asking for help, as most of us would do. If you were desperate, if you were hungry, if you were poor, wouldn't you be asking for food or medical assistance? This is what ordinary people usually ask God for. That is the truth. I mean, I do. If I'm in suffering, I ask God for help with the suffering that I actually had. And Baba, in his mercy, was not too great and was not too holy to give them the help that they actually needed. If you read the Ramayana or the Mahabharata or the New Testament in the Bible, there are stories like this. And in the future, this will be one of the stories that generation after generation will tell about Meher Baba and his merciful love. He is the one who is at the source of all our different religions. They all derive from him because of the memory of his love and the seed, the gift of love that he sows in the depths of the hearts of humanity. And when we hear this about Meher Baba and his stories, it is so obvious that he is that same one. Who else could it be who would do things like this? You know, though, Baba, the avatar, is the cause and the creator of all the religions of the world. It's from his remembrance that these religions come, right? I mean, many of you heard stories of Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata, the Battle of Kurukshetra and the gopis, or Ram and Sita and Lakshman and the great battles. These are the stories that he has given us so that we can have some way of understanding who God is. Because God is beyond anything that we can know. God is infinite. God is unlimited. How can we know a God like that? There is no way for us to know such a God. But in his mercy, here, Baba behind us, he gives us a human face. He gives us stories. He gives us these little, Baba would say when people would come to him, how did you sleep? I mean, why should God Almighty, Nirakar Brahman, why should he care about whether we slept or not? It's such an inconsequential matter. Yet he showed his mercy for who we are, not for someone better who we should be, but who we really and truly are. He showed his love for us there. You know, there is a saying about this that comes to my mind. Man prays for the sake of the thing that he prays for, but God grants the prayer for the sake of the fact that man has prayed. Let me explain that. Let's suppose I want a job, or my wife is sick and I want her to get well and not to die. I pray to God and say, oh God, give me this job. I need a career so I can support my family. Why do I pray to God? I pray to God because I want the job. I don't really care about God. I want the job. And God is the one who can give me the job. I believe in God to that extent. I mean, in real honesty, aren't most of us like this? I'm this way. I mean, I may not be asking for a job at this very moment, but I'm asking for something else. It's always one thing or another. So man prays for the sake of the thing that he is praying for. I pray because I want this or I want that. But God grants the prayer for the sake of the fact that man has prayed. God answers my prayer so that I can develop the habit of praying to him for things, so that I can know that he's the one who will grant the prayer, so that I can know that he's the one who really cares for me, and in the end, so that I can give up praying for things and pray for him instead. That is how God treats his children. And all of the religions of the world, our gods were originally do you have the word here? Kindergarten? First standard. What's before first standard in school? The very beginning. The lessons for little children. The religions that he gave are lessons for little children. People like many of us here. So that we can begin to learn, at least take the first baby steps towards him. But you know what God has also done with the religions and with his own avatar? He has also created trouble. He's created the basis for conflict. It's true. It's real humanity. Like, Muslims fight with Hindus, and Christians fight with Muslims, and everyone fights with everyone. As a matter of fact, Christians fight with Christians, and Hindus with Hindus, and Muslims. Everyone fights with everyone. But I feel that even this too, God in his mercy has given us the excuses that we can fight for, because he knows we need to fight. For example, the Prophet Muhammad, who Baba has shown to us, Muhammad was the avatar, right? We know this. Baba lovers understand. Of course, most Muslims would not like this idea. But Muhammad, the avatar, who knows that God is in every form, what did he do? He went to the Kaaba. He conquered the Kaaba militarily. He conquered the Kaaba, Makkah, with an army. And when he reached the Kaaba, he destroyed all the idols. He destroyed all the statues there. Now, how would many Hindus feel to watch a Muslim come and smash? How would this woman feel if someone had come and smashed her statue of Krishna? Would she have liked that? Of course not. And yet, this was done all across the world by invading Muslims. And I'm not just picking on Islam. Every religion has done this in one way or another. In fact, the belief that there is one God that Islam taught is true. Baba has said that. There is one God. And it was the avatar himself who told them to destroy all other images because there is only one God. So really speaking, if we were to say that there are conflicts between